instruction on the various ways that mature men and women can enjoy the physical pleasures of love. The Kama Sutra has become a famous or even infamous sex manual. The Kama Sutra goes on to describe in somewhat metaphoric language an amazing number of techniques for making love. There might seem to be a contradiction here between the enjoyment of the body and cultivation of the soul. But we should remember that Hindus believe different forms of behavior are appropriate to different stages of life. The student should be celibate, and the householder should be involved in physical passion. This approach seems to put things in their appropriate place. Such attempts to include every human possibility in their system has led some people to speak of Hinduism as a way of life, rather than a religion in the usual European and American sense. Yet another dimension of the Hindu way of life emerged in what might be called the early Middle Ages of India. This new dimension was a highly developed system of astrology, and it has continued to be an important part of Hindu life. Lengthy manuals on the subject became widely available, and the sidewalk astrologer became an important figure in every village and town. For important tasks, such as arranging a marriage, the horoscopes of both bride and groom received careful scrutiny. Horoscopes were also consulted to choose the most auspicious day for the wedding. In this way, the stars, the phases of the moon, the days of the month, and the hours of the day all figure prominently in the lives of ordinary Hindus. Astrology thus joins water as one of the common practical elements of Hinduism. Hindus, Jews, Christians and Muslims all use water, both physically and symbolically, as a purifying substance. Christians experience new life through baptism. Muslims must wash before they pray in order to purify themselves. Likewise, Hindus look upon bathing as an act that removes any form of pollution, and it is one of the reasons that most Hindus bathe every morning. Hindus consider the Ganges River in northern India to be the purest water in the world. Many Hindus believe that bathing in the Ganges River removes all sin. Older people sometimes choose to spend their last days on its banks, especially in one of the holy cities through which the river flows. After they die, they will be cremated and their ashes set afloat on the river. During the 4th and 5th centuries CE, Hinduism re-emerged as the dominant religion of India after overcoming the challenges by Buddhism and Jainism. The many thousands of grand temples built in the period were only the most obvious symbols of a Hindu renaissance. Ellora, located in central India near the city of Aurangabad, features a number of caves which have been extended and decorated by generations of stone carvers. But the most impressive of the monuments at Ellora is the 8th century Kailasana temple, which was dedicated to Shiva. In building temples, the iconography, that is the visual symbolism of religious statuary, became very important. In cultures where few people could read, familiar symbols helped the illiterate understand the message conveyed in religious buildings. The various gods and the stories of their feats acquired a standard form of presentation. For example, Shiva was sometimes portrayed as dancing. The religious idea here is that Shiva's dance keeps the universe in motion. Another image of Shiva is that of the Mahayogi, the cosmic meditator. These images present Shiva sitting in the lotus position, his eyes nearly shut and focused on the tip of his nose. Like other wandering holy men, Shiva sits on the skin of an animal. His hair is piled high on his head, and from it the sacred Ganges is said to flow. The implication is that Shiva's meditation creates and sustains the universe. Images of the Hindu gods are housed in temples, and they are treated as though they were persons. The images are worshipped through prayers and offerings of food. They are frequently bathed and given fresh clothing. Jews, Christians and Muslims tend to think of worshipping images as idolatry. But Hindus know that God exists in a spiritual way and cannot be limited to a painting or a statue. Though they display great regard for the images themselves, Hindus actually worship what the images represent.
You see, in the Hindu way of looking at things, there's one God that appears in many ways. And the deities are crystallizations of these principles. It's the same universal consciousness in each deity, but it's a different nature of God or a different flavor of God that the deity represents. And for instance, the aspect of God that removes all obstacles, that's personified as Ganesh. But underneath is the same omnipotent consciousness.
When Hindu devotees go to a particular temple, they perform the rituals of puja, that is, worship involving an offering of food and prayers to the image of the god. The deity is believed to absorb the essence of the food or cloth offered to it. Hindu worshippers gain spiritual merit by making offerings to the god. They also gain a reputation as sacrificers, which enhances their standing in society. Yet puja at a temple is a comparatively rare event in the lives of most ordinary Hindus, who offer a daily puja to a small shrine in their own houses. Hinduism does not have a specific Lord's Day or Sabbath as Jews and Christians do, though Hindus do have frequent festivals to celebrate one or another god. One of the most famous of these festivals is the Ram Lila, or the drama of Ram, which is especially popular in North India. The Ramayana is nearly as popular and influential as the Mahabharata and its sacred chapters, the Bhagavad Gita. In the Ramayana, the god Rama takes on the human form of a prince. The story revolves around the kidnapping of Rama's wife, Sita, by a demon named Ravana. Rama and his brother Lakshmana search for Sita and her captor, and this leads to many adventures. Rama forms an alliance with Hanuman, and finally he and Lakshmana confront the demon on the island of Sri Lanka. Using Rama's divine power and the thousands of monkeys in Hanuman's army, the heroes kill the demon. During Ram Lila, neighborhood associations sponsor a series of activities stretching over a week. Each night will feature performances by the neighborhood association to tell the story of the Ramayana. These plays give local amateur actors a chance to display their skills. The neighborhood association will also build a huge papier-mâché image of the demon Ravana. The culmination of the festival comes when this demon is set on fire. In the 11th century of the Common Era, a number of external and internal forces in India worked to shape Hinduism into its modern form. The first and most significant outside force was the arrival of the Muslims. Muslims from Central Asia and Afghanistan would have the greatest impact on Indian life. The Sultan Mahmud, the 10th and 11th century ruler of Ghazna in what is now called Afghanistan, ordered the first major Muslim invasions through the Khyber Pass